The Emperor reversed. The Emperor in reverse can tell us that we are giving our heart more credence than what our mind and logic is telling us. In general, that is not a bad thing, but ideally we would be balancing both. Use your mind and your heart, this reversed card tells us. You may be easily distracted now and could find it hard to maintain your concentration and focus. Yet drawing the reversed Emperor indicates that concentration and focus is vital now. General, when you draw the Emperor in reverse, an older man, likely to be dark-haired, may be rubbing you the wrong way now. Try to look beyond his exterior and consider what it is that he may have to offer you that can be of use. Don't get too irritated if he is trying to tell you what you should do. Take the parts of his advice which are useful and ignore the rest. Work. The reversed Emperor can indicate that you are not much in the mood for structured, formal work right now. However, obviously, you may not have a choice. Do the best you can to exhibit the structure and order that your job requires of you, but make sure to give yourself at least little mini breaks to help yourself cope, if necessary. Love, organization or lack thereof can become an issue when the reversed Emperor shows in a reading. If you consider yourself to be an orderly, methodical person, you may have fallen for someone who is not, or that could be about to happen. Consider where or how compromises can be made. If you don't, the relationship has next to no chance of working. Finances. If you struggle with finances and you have drawn the Emperor reversed, you may well need to seek outside assistance. Look for someone who is good at logic, order, and being methodical in terms of setting up budgets, dealing with taxes and cash flow, and so on. You cannot afford to take a haphazard approach when this card appears in this context. Health. Again, this card in reverse points to a need to get outside advice and to be logical, methodical, and orderly about how you are managing your body and your health. Increased self-discipline may be helpful. If you are struggling with a health issue, insights may come if you take the time to write down your symptoms, track them, and then see if anything in your life corresponds with how you are feeling. Spirituality. When the Emperor appears in reverse, it can be a signal that a helpful spiritual advisor, likely to be male and older than the querent, is nearby. One must be cautious when accepting spiritual advice from a guru. No human being is perfect, and it's important that you listen to your own thoughts and intuition no matter what others say about a guru or teacher who is in, or who will be coming into your life. Learn from this teacher, but do not discard yourself in the process. Tarot history. The history of the tarot is shrouded in mystery. Very little in the way of concrete information is known about its origin, although many things have been written about it. We will probably never know the truth, as fact and fiction seem to be irrevocably mixed nowadays. The tarot originated in northern Italy in the early 15th century, sometime between 1420 to 1440. Despite the fact that it is often attributed to originating from China, Egypt, India, or Morocco, to name just a few, there is absolutely no evidence that this is the case. Nor, as is often quoted, is there any evidence whatsoever that the tarot was brought to Europe by the Romanis. The name tarot is often attributed to being Egyptian, Hebrew, or Latin. This is not the case. The earliest names are all Italian in origin. The cards were originally called carte de triomphe. Around 1530 the word tarocchi began to be used to differentiate them from a new game of triumphs that was in vogue at the time. The etymology of this new word is unknown. The German variant was known as tarot and the French tarot. The symbolism for the tarot is drawn from the culture of medieval and Renaissance Europe. The tarot subjects are distinctive to European Christendom. The symbolism does not come from Egypt or any of the other exotic locales often mentioned. It is often stated that modern-day playing cards evolved from the tarot. This is not the case. Modern-day playing cards came to Europe courtesy of Islam. They were an adaptation of the Islamic Mamluk cards. They appeared quite suddenly in many different European cities between 1375 and 1378. These early cards had suits of cups, swords, coins, and polo sticks, and courts consisting of a king and two male underlings. The tarot adds the Fool, the trumps, and a set of queens to this system. Sometime before 1480, the French introduced cards with the now familiar suits of hearts, clubs, spades, and diamonds. The Joker is not original to either the early form of modern-day cards, or to the tarot, but instead originated in the USA around 1857 and was used as a wild card in poker as well as the highest trump in euchre. It is also often stated that the Catholic and Protestant churches outlawed the tarot and all who used it in an effort to stamp out so-called heretical teachings. This is not the case. The Inquisition documented what the Church considered as evidence of heresy in great detail. The tarot was not even mentioned. After the Reformation, less controversial images for the Pope and Papess were substituted by card makers as the Church had objected to the original images. It is often said that the tarot was not used as a divination tool prior to 1781. The tarot was used as early as the 16th century to compose poems describing personality characteristics. There is historical evidence that in one case at least these verses were presented as relating to the person's fate. In other words, divination. Divinatory meanings were assigned to the tarot in Bologna in the early 1700s, and this is the first unambiguous evidence of tarot divination. Ordinary playing cards were connected with divination as early as 1487. It is not unreasonable to think that the tarot was also. The tarot has often been attributed with being a pillar of Western esoterica occultism. This is certainly not the case. The first occult writers to discuss the tarot were Court de Gabellin and the Comte de Melot in 1781. The tarot was not mentioned in any occult work for the first 350 years of its existence. The terms Major Arcana, Minor Arcana, High Priestess, and Hierophant are anachronistic when referring to the older tarot decks. The historically appropriate terms are the trumps and the fool, the suit cards, Papess or Popess, and Pope. Likewise, pentacles and wands are relatively recent substitutions for the traditional suit names of coins and staves or batons. The original Italian titles of the cards were in some cases different from the later French titles that have become familiar to us through the Tarot de Marseille and its descendants. Also, the ordering of the trumps varied considerably in Italy where the cards originated. It is not known which ordering is the earliest one. Even the number of cards in the deck varied a great deal. So care should be used in making statements about the original meaning of the cards based on the familiar titles and ordering. Many believe that the Waite-Smith Tarot is the original, standard, or most authentic tarot deck in existence. This is absolutely untrue. The Waite-Smith/Rider-Waite deck was created in 1909, not even 100 years ago, making it a relative newcomer in the almost 600-year history of the tarot. There is actually no definitive version of the tarot.